wide here on the backstretch. It's incredible.
Look at this battle here right now. What a great fight.
Sent it, didn't he? From action-packed racing, wheel-to-wheel contact to drama, and from an oval to a road course, welcome to WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca, located in California. It hosts the first round of the Tire Rack Road to Indy iRacing eSeries, presented by Cooper Tires. And for myself, Jonathan Simon, welcome to the coverage. I'm alongside the voice of Road to Indy, Rob Howden. And Rob, we dreamt of having ovals on the schedule. We got them. We returned back to the road courses, and this should be a good one today.
Yeah, I don't think, Jonathan, we could have asked anything more out of the event that we had, the oval race at Worldwide Technology Raceway at Gateway. The racing was absolutely exciting. Great to be here, though, at Laguna Seca in Monterey, California. This is a track that's going to be tough. There are some drivers who know this track maybe a little bit better, but I'd like to get back to this facility. It's been a long time stop on the road to Indy. I look forward to the racing today.
Most certainly. We'll bring you today's invocation in a moment's time, and then we'll bring you a pre-race coverage of today's event. So hope you enjoy.
Let's pray. Lord God, we just pause a moment to invite you into our time together tonight as we go virtual racing at Laguna Seca. And we're just thankful for the ability to connect and kick back and have some fun on a Wednesday night. But Lord, as we do this, we know there's people all over the world with hardship and suffering right now. And we just lift them up to you in prayer that you might strengthen them and heal them. Lord, we just ask you to be with our first responders and our military tonight, and ask that this event be a blessing to everyone involved. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
And now, our national anthem. Performing from Dallas, Texas, Russ Ruddock.
I think I'm going to try buying tires online.
TireRack.com can help you with that.
I guess I could buy the same ones I have.
No need to guess.
Our tire decision guide gives you all the right options.
Someone should invent a tire decision guide or something.
Can he not hear us?
Receive fast, free shipping and road hazard protection. A deal and peace of mind. TireRack.com, the way tire buying should be.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, as we get set to roll here for today's action of the Road to Indy eSeries. Joining us in the booth here today from Symmetric, Greg DeGeorgis. Greg, you're going to have your symmetric trailer with the sim at every racetrack throughout the 2020 season. We brought you in here because we want you to give us what you think are the 3 keys to the race here today.
Hey, Rob. Thanks for having me. Really glad to be here and be a part of this, the Road to Indy eSeries. So the keys to the race here, the first one is going to be, first and foremost, is going to be track position. Because passing is so difficult, qualifying is absolutely crucial. And it's really, there's a lot of work that goes into setting up each and every one of the passes. The big passing zones are going to see our turn 2, which is our hairpin at the end of the front straightaway. We have turn 5 heading up the hill, and then some of the lower probability places are heading up the hill into the corkscrew and possibly into the final corner here. It's not impossible to pass, but you can easily lose a lot of time and ruin your race with a botched pass attempt. So like I said, track position is going to be really important. Next is going to be using every millimeter of the actual track surface. The fastest drivers that I was watching in the practice use every bit of the road to maximize cornering speed. But be careful, if you do drop a wheel, you will pay the price and find a tire well pretty quickly. Fortunately, there's no repair bills to worry about here, though, so that's really nice. And you have to really keep an eye on the Cooper tires. They slowly start to wear off. There's not a lot of tire drag here, even though it's a low grip track surface in iRacing here. But yeah, trying to maximize every inch of the track is really important. And lastly, I think it's really important the drivers keep it clean. It's an age-old adage that we all hear all the time, but you can't win the race in turn 1, but you can absolutely lose it. So I know all the Road to Indy drivers are taking it very seriously. They're keeping the races really clean like we saw at the races at Gateway last week. But nonetheless, I think it's really important not to force passes and only take advantage of opportunities as they present themselves, and to defend hard, bring some good points home here in the beginning of the championship. Thanks, guys.
Lovely. So we'll leave you alone, Greg, for the race. Enjoy it. He'll be our pace car driver for today. So look out for him during our caution periods. But Rob, as we discussed, we head to Laguna Seca, which hosted the final round of the NTT IndyCar Series and was supported by the Road to Indy Series, a 2.2-mile layout, around about 3.5 to 3.6 kilometers in length, depending on your units of choice. Now, it includes 55 meters of elevation change, including the 5.5-story drop at the corkscrew, which is, Rob, and I calculated this, equivalent to 20 meters, 59 feet, or 8 Yao Mings stacked on top of each other.
It's definitely an iconic corner in American motorsports. That is for certain. It's a tough part of the racetrack as well. Track position, we talked about how important that is. Car position is what's important coming into the corkscrew. You have to have it right because it's totally blind. You're obviously diving off the edge of a cliff. Very tough part of the racetrack for sure. And as you did say, Laguna Seca last year was the season finale for USF 2000, Indy Pro, and Indy Lights as well. Of course, able to crown all of our champions at that particular weekend. Oliver Askew, of course, winning Indy Lights, Braden Eves winning USF 2000, and Kyle Kirkwood, the Indy Pro 2000 champion. So qualifying looks like it's, I believe, wrapping up here right now. Very close to wrapping up here, Jonathan. But this track, as we said, incredibly tough. And Greg even laid it out there. You got to use every bit of the racetrack, but you can't drop a wheel here. When you do, you're going to find trouble.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we're watching Andre Castro now in qualifying, and he was our last Sim Metrics Driver Performance Labs pole winner, and he won that award last week over at Gateway Worldwide Technology Raceway. So we have Tire Rack on board for the series. We're also presented by Cooper Tires as usual. What a brilliant shot there under the Cooper Tires bridge after the Andretti hairpin. We've also got a fastest lap of the race award that will be handed out by TSOladder.com. Our race winners last week, Rob, were Braden Eves and Phil Dennis. So Braden Eves possibly could make it yet another victory here at Laguna Seca. Like you said, won here during the final round last year. Brilliant way to cap off a championship year.
Yeah, indeed. He had to actually go out and actually win that final race to be able to steal the championship away from Hunter McElroy. They had such a great battle. Braden was unbelievably good at the start of the season. At the end of the season, it was Hunter McElroy who kind of came on strong. But Braden stepped up and put up the elbows. Jonathan was able to grab that victory. And again, we're watching both he and Philippe Dennis do so incredibly well here as qualifying kind of rolling out here. It's still about a minute to go. Philippe Dennis with the fast lap so far. He knows this track well. He lives very close to the facility in Carmel, California, and actually works at the track as well. This guy has a ton of laps around WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca, and Philippe told me, and told us actually in the interview after the race, how excited he was to be able to come to this particular racetrack as well. Hunter McElroy in the fight. He's currently P2. Braden Eves, a winner from the oval event at Gateway. He's in third as well. He's the point leader coming in. This could be a very interesting day for sure.
Yep, definitely. So Castro is still on his second of 2 qualifying laps that are available to each driver. He's currently scored 4th in the championship. It was Braden Eves, who we were just speaking about, winning that USF 2000 championship. And he currently leads the championship standings by 57 points. So good on Braden Eves right there. He scored a very good round to begin the season. Over at Gateway, Max Kayser for Miller Vinatieri Motorsports also faring well with 47 points, and Phil Dennis down in third. Now, Phil Dennis somehow, let me tell you, Rob, somehow Phil Dennis managed to claw his way up the order at Gateway. It looked like a round to lose for him, but he figured it out around the ovals, which is going to be critical for this season because we've got 3 of them.
Yeah, I think when we talk was able to do in that second race of the doubleheader at Worldwide Technology Raceway at Gateway, the oval event, where he had to start dead last. Obviously had the issue in the opening race, started dead last, was able to work his way back to the front. Unbelievable performance to get him back in the championship fight.
So time to head over to the grid for today's command here at Laguna Seca.
Drivers, start your engines.
So good stuff there. We'll have a look at your grid for today's event. The Sim Metric Driver Performance Labs winner for the Pole Winner Award will go to Phil Dennis, back on the road courses and back to dominating for the RP Motorsport USA driver. We just talked about Hunter McElray and Braden Eves. The battle's going to continue, Rob, here in the virtual world between the two.
Yeah, we've got some impressive USF 2000 drivers up front from last year. McElray and Eves. Of course, Colin Kaminsky running for Paps Racing as well. He qualifies on the outside of row number 2. Christian Brooks, the young rookie for Exclusive Autosport, starting in that 5th position, another Californian. It's Colorado's Max Kayser on the outside of row number 3. Row 4, Indy Lights driver Daniel Frost. I know you're very high on Daniel, and I'll tell you, starting 8th position, Andre Castro wants a win. He's had so much bad luck, Jonathan. He wants a victory.
So we'll get away for a rolling start here for today's event. We'll keep cycling through the order. So Castro, they're down in 8th. Frost and he will line the 4th row together. They got a bit of work to do here. It's very difficult to overtake at Laguna Seca, but anything's possible in this previous Pro Mazda vehicle. So this is going to be an awkward situation now. We're going to let the iRacing pace car go, and we're going to let the Corvette here take over. That Corvette driven by Greg DeGeorgis, who we just spoke to pre-race from Sim Metric Driver Performance Labs. And so it's time to announce our official Pole Winner Award that is presented by Greg DeGeorgis and Sim Metric. You can visit simmetriclabs.com for more information on high-quality driver coaching, and that will head to Phil Dennis, as we said. No surprise, as we just looked at the grid there. And the RP Motorsport USA driver back to where he's comfortable. So, Rob, let me tell you something. He's very good in the sim. How do you reckon he'll fare in 2020 when we get back to real racing?
Well, when we come here, he's going to be fast for sure. We, of course, as we said, capped the season off last year, and it was a one-off, actually, at the end of the season with Exclusive Autosport for Philippe Dennis, and he was very, very strong and ran well. For Philippe right now, he's got to try to find the money. That's the biggest thing. I've had a number of conversations with him. He does have some funding and some backing put together, but he needs to get more money to be able to run the entire season. If he does go racing, I have a feeling that he's going to be a driver battling for the championship. I think what he's doing right now here in this eSeries is allowed to put his name deeply into the spotlight for the 2020 season.
And if you're new to virtual racing, this is iRacing, so you can visit iRacing.com to get in on all the action. We're using the old Pro Mazda, but don't stress, the new vehicles for the USF 2000 and Road to Indy Support Series will be back on the iRacing service too. So the Indy Pro 2000, and as I said, the USF 2000, are using the TARDIS USF 17 and the PM18 that will be developed and available to iRacing customers, hopefully before the end of this year. It's a fixed setup event today, so all the drivers are on equal playing field. And as we head to the corkscrew here, like I said, 8 Yao Mings, Rob. Can you believe it? One of the best basketball players we've had in the past 2 decades.
Definitely a player for sure, and you're right. You can just see how much of a run down it is. And I think the great thing about that particular corner, maybe not even just the fact that the corkscrew is so tough, it's that turn number 9 coming through Rainy Curve afterwards. You're holding so much speed, so much momentum. It's such a tough part of the racetrack. Back down into turn number 10, hard braking, and then of course 11, hard braking. You've got to get on the throttle coming out of 11 because that leads the big long run through turn number 1 up to the Andretti hairpin, turn number 2. Field now set to go the first of 2 races of the doubleheader. Will flip-flop the top 10 after this. We're getting ready to get things rolling. Philippe Dennis jumping on the throttle. He rolls into it. Green, green, green. Racing up through turn number 1. Good start thus far. They'll come back down the hill to the Andretti hairpin. Turn number 2. Tough part of the racetrack. Drivers have got better and better, Jonathan, through these, 6 races we've done so far. A lot cleaner start and a really good beginning to the run here. Opening race of the doubleheader at Laguna Seca.
And you're right, the Andretti hairpin always invites a bit of contact. There's a multitude of lines, a downhill braking zone, a 400-meter run through the first couple corners that the drivers have skilled masterfully as they head through the middle part of the lap. I hear some contact. One of the drivers turned around here towards the rear end of the pack. Couldn't quite catch who that was. It went by so quickly. We're going to bring you a Road to Indy replay. I think it looked like Ryan Norman.
Yeah, 2-time Indy Lights winner Ryan Norman out of Ohio having some trouble coming in there. Tried to make a move to the bottom. Car looped around on him a little bit. Able to get it back around. More contact, though. 3 or 4 more drivers involved in that one. One of them, I believe, the 69 of Nate Aranda. More drivers going off, as we said. Nate Aranda was involved, I think, with that as well. So maybe Max Kaiser as well. Kyle Dupel. Man, number of drivers. Peter Dempsey involved as well. He's had some bad luck here as well.
The bad luck for Dempsey continues. Oh, goodness me.
That's Josh Green. That's Josh Green off as well, too.
Oh, no. Josh Green, who had such a great event at Gateway, is already suffering from some damage. Now, the good news is they will be able to repair these cars and get back out on the racetrack and compete. But let's see how they fare here for the rest of the event. So far, it's Dennis leading from Eves, from McElray, from Colin Kaminsky. Christian Brooks rounds out the top 5. How about Andre Castro up a couple of spots here? He's jumped ahead of Daniel Frost into the 6th position. We know how quick Castro can be. And yet again, we come to a circuit, Rob, where the draft effect is always critical in these cars.
First and foremost, I want to know if these guys were listening to me. I sound like an idiot. I said how great they've been. They've kind of dialed things in. We had a great open and run down through Andretti hairpin, turn number 2, 3 and 4 were good. All of a sudden, 5, 6, 7, and we've got crashes all over the place. A number of drivers already out of the race. Artem Petrov's out. David Martinez is out already. The second half of the lap, not as good as the first lap as we thought. You mentioned the draft. I don't think it really comes into as much of a play maybe here, Jonathan, at Laguna Seca. You've, of course, been on the sim a little more. That's an issue there. That's Braden. No. That's Braden Eves. Braden Eves into the wall coming out of the final corner.
That's dramatic. Our winner here from Laguna Seca in the real world last year, and it's so difficult to get traction out of turn 11. And he's put his right wheels onto the sandy stuff, for lack of a better word there, and that's caused him to pile into the wall, and that could be the end of his race.
Well, Greg mentioned that at the start, did he not? That, yeah, you definitely need to push and use up all the racetrack, but you can't drop a wheel. You can see that he is still working his way around here, minus the front wing on that Pro Mazda machine. He'll have to get into pit lane and try to get a fast repair done. He was the point leader coming in, Jonathan. Braden Eves had such a good trip to Gateway on the oval there. Not a great start here. Pushing hard to try to stay up with Philippe Dennis. Overcooks it, drops the right rear, as you said. Car snapped around, nosing it into the wall.
Oh, no.
He's having trouble keeping the car straight. Look at this.
That's
Two drivers
a
going
dangerous,
off. Yeah.
very dangerous part of the racetrack to be caught by traffic. And it's going to get even worse for him. I think he's got bent steering. I don't know if he can get that. Well, he's turned into the... Oh, no, that's Air Tenori, excuse me. I thought that was Braden Eves coming through perfectly through the corkscrew for a second. And unfortunately, it looks like Braden Eves' day is going to get even worse. This is going to be a tough pit entry, Rob, as well. We see a spinner up ahead of him as well. Down the back end of the order, Ryan Norman with further issues. Can Eves steer into the pit entry?
Man, chaos here early on. Trouble for Braden Eves. Trouble for the number 49. There's another driver going off here as well. We've had a ton of chaos. Up front, though, no issues at all for Philippe Dennis, but drivers coming down pit lane, as you mentioned. Braden Eves with his issue. Oh, off goes Dennis. He drops the right side tires coming through the very quick turn number 7, coming up onto the Ray Hall straight. I'll tell you, these guys are pushing hard. Everybody making a little bit of errors here. I don't know, is it the fact that we're making the transition back from the oval, which is, I want to say, relatively simple in terms of driver input, a lot less steering input, coming here, and the drivers are all over the place. Even Dennis putting a couple of wheels off.
Yeah, so Dennis pushing hard for a 2.5 second advantage. His next rival has now turned into Hunter McElrea, the Australian, who fared ever so well in USF 2000 last year. But Phil Dennis has been untouchable, our Series 1 champion for the eSeries. Now, if you're just joining the series for Season 2, we're going to have 2 20-minute heats. The second one will invert your top 10. So this is the first of 2 heats we'll have today. So some of the drivers who have suffered from some damage or from any other issues will be able to get back out there for heat number 2. Now, we just saw the fastest lap of the race set by Phil Dennis. He's on track to winning that fastest lap of the race award by TSOladder.com. And so far, a 2.7 second advantage. Do you think he's looking back from here?
You know, I think when it comes to Philippe Dennis, what we've been able to see out of him when he gets out front, he is almost impossible to beat. He doesn't make mistakes. We saw that little drop off of the wheel coming through that corner, but he was able to hold on to it still. He's just not made mistakes, and I think this is kind of the perfect storm for Philippe Dennis, Jonathan. It's a track that he absolutely loves. He loves the iRacing platform. Everything's working for him right now. The key for him was to qualify on the pole, get the bonus points there. He was able to get that done, and then get away from his primary competition. Did that as well. Braden Eves was the driver that was chasing him. He's come back onto the racetrack. Eves is rolling once again, but he's quite a way down the order. We'll see how he's able to fight his way forward. Right up behind Flynn Lazier at this point. There's in front of him as well the 0-3 of Reese Gold from Cape Motorsports. Everybody kind of settling in. Gold having a good run here, P13, but we're going to see what Eves can do. He's currently 20th now with still around 13 minutes remaining.
And like we discussed last week, the drivers are allowed a fast repair. So they're allowed basically a free repair. It can be anything from 3 weeks at your local mechanic, as we ride on board with him, to anything to even a 15-second repair. You get it for free. Just jump into the box, and within a second, you're ready to go out there and give it a second shot. So he comes through what will be bad memories through the final corner of the racetrack, and now on to begin yet another lap. So Reese Gold is up an immense amount of positions. Reese Gold in this race up 15 after starting from 28th at the cutoff point for qualifying. Max Kayser enters the pit lane. We're not expecting scheduled pit stops though.
Watch the drivers work their way down through the corkscrew now. And that is following Colin Kaminsky, I believe, in that number 19 machine. So Kaminsky running in that P3 spot right behind him, the 44. That is Christian Brooks. Brooks, of course, for Exclusive Autosport. It'll be his rookie year in USF 2000. Right behind them, Andre Castro trying to put together a program with Legacy Autosport this year, not for that far back. Indy Lights driver Daniel Frost. A handful of races in USF 2000 a couple years ago. Did the full season in Indy Pro last year. Was able to win on the oval at Lucas Oil Raceway. We'll see if he's able to do that again next week. And then he also was able to win on the streets of Toronto. He's currently pushing pretty hard there in that position. I think that's 6th, trying to close back up behind Kaminsky, Brooks, and Castro. So Kaminsky working his way through now, turn number 4 over to turn 5. Again, a hard braking zone here. Left-hander that leads back up the hill. You got to really be gentle coming out the corner. We see a lot of drivers go 4 wheels off coming out of turn number 5. And again, that's where you get all that speed, getting on the throttle early to lead your way up through kind of the kink of turn number 6 through Ray Hall Straight. And then it's, again, great on board here with Christian Brooks. Let's have a look. This is what it looks like coming through the corkscrew. You see nothing. The world drops away, back on the throttle again, and through Rainy Curve. Jonathan, what a great part of this racetrack.
Love it. 5.5 story drop, as we said. I'm not going to bring up the Yao Ming fact yet another time.
Pull out another player.
Well, I mean, he was 7'6". If I grab Shaquille O'Neal, I think there'd be about 9 of him. Just
That's
one
it.
more.
That's it.
So there
watch.
you go.
Good battle going on. Look, I like Christian Brooks is showing some good patience here, right behind Kaminsky coming up through turn 1. This would be a pass, but Kaminsky running the inside line. Look at this, Jonathan. Outside pass potentially for Christian Brooks.
Oh, we couldn't book it though, and he's going to have to form up through the Andretti hairpin. Brooks, a very quick rallycross racer too. If he wants to head into the gravel traps, I wouldn't mind that. It might be the quickest way around. You'll have to form up here through the first sector at Laguna Seca. He's got Andre Castro following closely behind, and Daniel Frost, who has improved week to week in the series. And I was thinking about this, Rob, if your leader, Phil Dennis, now with a 3-second advantage, if you walk away from the 2 road courses this season with a win and leave the ovals down to luck, basically you've done all you can do to claim the best amount of points. You know what I mean? Because the ovals can sometimes not be the most friendliest for a driver who does so well on a road course.
Indeed, we saw that nobody's pulling away. On any of the ovals, nobody's going to pull away. We're going to have draft racing. So if you can get the job done here, as you said, I think even more crucial for Philippe Dennis is what's going to happen when he starts 10th. This is his race. So if he wins here, this is his track. If he wins, starts 10th, then for race number 2, that'll be really interesting. I want to go back, though, briefly talk about Christian Brooks, but I think we're going to have a quick look at a replay here. Driver coming down, Santi Urrutia, the driver from Uruguay, goes off. He had some trouble coming through. I think that was through turn number 3, I believe, under the Cooper tire bridge there. Urrutia dropping the left side wheels, almost put it in the wall.
Yeah, so issues for Santi, who joined the series late at the end of for this season. So the Uruguayan driver, one of the few Uruguayan race car drivers out there in the world as well.
Yeah, former winner of the Indy Pro 2000 Championship, had the scholarship and was able to move up into Indy Lights and came so close to potentially winning in this particular racetrack. And I'll bring this up right now, tough one for Santi Urrutia. He was in the battle with Ed Jones, trying to race for the championship and, of course, the scholarship to move to IndyCar the next year. Jones was running right behind Santi. Santi was in the position to win the championship, but right in front of Jones, was his teammate. His teammate slowed down, let Jones get back by. Just enough points for him to take the championship away from Santi Urrutia. Left a very sour taste in the mouth of the Uruguayan. His followers for sure came back the next year and finished second as well. Came back one more year and finished third. Hasn't quite been able to get the job done, but he's back here after being off for a year. Jonathan, he'll run with HMD Motorsports and Indy Lights. People looking at him for a potential championship run here in 2020.
Oh, 2 guys alongside each other as Kaminsky and Brooks have had enough of it. And Castro's ready to loom here. Is he going to sneak up the inside? No, he has to form up. And that's going to be enough for Andre Castro. He said it last week, post-race. He was getting sick of having car contact and getting taken out of races. He'll be quite nervous as he heads onto this long short shoot through the difficult turn 6. He's forcing into the defensive as they head to the Rahal Straight. What a tight position on the racetrack. And look behind, Daniel Frost, never nervous to make a move into the corkscrew.
No doubt about it. Look at Frost. He's right into the middle of the fight. This has also allowed Kaminsky to pull away a little bit. I think it was a pretty aggressive move for Brooks down in turn number 2. Went to the inside, tried to do the over-under, was side-by-side coming out with Kaminsky. That just had a bit of trouble, and that again allowed Castro to get right in. The great thing about Brooks is you mentioned the fact of all his experience in the Red Bull Global Rallycross program, ran with Dreyer Reibold and another team as well, and in the GRC Lights category. Then he ran in the Arena Cross, and I'll tell you, it's got such a diverse spectrum of experience. Instead of going straight into cars out of karting, he went Global Rallycross racing, did a year in the F4 category as well. He is still the number 3 ranked single-speed karter in North America right now. He does a lot of karting, runs with Nash Motorsports. This guy has such a diverse level of experience, and I think that's going to play off really well for him when we go back to racing at Road America in June.
The issue is, when it comes to sim racing, there's no amount of karting that will help you climb to the top. I mean, it will, but you know what I mean. You need a lot more seat time in the sim. You're somebody who's jumped into the simulator too, Rob. I'm assuming you've had a few laps possibly around Laguna.
Yeah, you know what? I've been trying to drive every facility that we go to. I've played with a bunch of different cars. And this track I find a lot of fun to drive just because of all the undulations. As you said, I do love going through the corkscrew, but I love Rainy Curve too. I think it's one of the for me, the most fun parts of the racetrack, trying to be able to hold that speed and trying to keep that throttle where it needs to be. And then, of course, the big run into 10 and 11. I really like this racetrack, and I love going there as well. I love announcing at the track. We, as you said, did the season finale here last year. Nothing wrong with being at Monterey, California for the season finale. Of course, our banquet right on the water down on Cannery Row. we're looking forward to doing that again this year, but not at this particular racetrack. We're going to be going to St. Petersburg. They've announced that as the final race of the year at the end of October. It'll be the final race for the NTT IndyCar Series as well. This battle, though, Jonathan, continues to heat up. Christian Brooks going to work now. See if he can't find a way by Kaminsky. Very strong run through turn number 4. It'll be the run down here into the inside of turn 5. Is he close enough? He is not, but the pressure relentless from Christian Brooks.
Always difficult to overtake at Laguna Seca. One of the lap cars there getting straight out of the way. I'm not sure if that was Airtonori or Artem Petrov. It looked like Petrov for sure as they head onto the Rahal Straight and into this blind braking zone where it's so easy to lock up the rears in this fixed setup. The drivers managed quite well there, and now through Rainy Curve. What a thrilling shot that is as they scream to the final couple of corners here at Laguna Seca. The right-hander of 10, and then through the left-hander of 11. Brooks goes for it, bullies his way past it, looks like without contact on Colin Kaminsky, and they're going to be alongside each other here on the main straight.
I love that move to the inside. He waited for it. He'll come down. Here comes Castro. He's going to try to make it 3 wide to the inside. Book it. A pass done finally by the 44 Christian Brooks. Castro thought about making it 3 wide and decided, no, I'm going to hold back a little bit. Kaminsky will then move into that position, P4. Castro in 5th. And it's Frost in 6th. So look at the driver coming up here right now. A top driver from Southern California karting, Keon Tandon, in that machine working to P7. He's trying to get into the fight as well. He's a driver we're going to try to watch here this year, I believe, running with Jay Howard Driver Development. Hoping to see him in USF 2000 this year. Keon Tandon, a tremendous talent. He's ready to fight these guys here right now as we have less than 4 minutes remaining.
And this is a good view from Colin Kaminsky's perspective in the Pabst Racing Pro Mazda machine, the old Road to Indy car. Let's ride on board with him for a couple of corners. Oh, thought he lost it. You could barely see in his mirrors. You could catch a glimpse of Andre Castro here, who's now got a mammoth run on the main straight. It's about a 700-meter run from the final corner to the Andretti hairpin, and it's rarely a straight, but it's a full throttle zone on the racetrack. And Castro using a bit of the runoff to the right-hand side, but can't make a move so far. And this has been disappointing for Castro, Rob. He's had some strong pace, but we ride on board with the Legacy Autosport driver, and he's just been stuck in traffic for the entirety of the event and can't do anything about that strong pace.
Well, you can see the pressure that he's starting to put on Colin Kaminsky. Colin's made a couple of mistakes so far. We saw him go full 4 wheels off coming through turn number 4. They're working their way back up the hill to 6 now. I wonder if Castro just wants to get one in the books. Remember, if he ends up finishing 6th here, or he's running 5th, if he finishes 5th, he's going to start 6th in the order. He'll have some fast guys behind him. I think, knowing what he's had to go through, Jonathan, for the first series, so much bad luck, he may just want to get one race in the books. He comes in 4th in points, and knowing for sure that Braden Eves has had an issue. In fact, we will update Eves, looking at the timing and scoring. He's down in the 26th position for Braden Eves. Not sure whether or not he's actually out of the race, but it says 26. We got 15th on the order here. I have 26th on my live timing. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he's back up to 15th. Let's try to get an update on Braden Eves.
Yeah, there could be a timing issue there because I think the timing and scoring tower on the left, he's definitely on the racetrack. We can't be 26th. So he's definitely 15th, the exclusive Autosport driver. And good stuff from him to at least keep driving here, claim some strong championship points because he's got to make amends for this poor race sometime soon. He's looking to claim the throne from Phil Dennis, who's doing everything possible right now to demoralize the rest of the field. Dennis and McElrea in this race so far have sealed the first couple of positions. It's for this final podium spot. We're looking at Brooks, from Kaminsky, from Castro, from Daniel Frost, and from Keon Tandon down in the 7th position. If anything goes wrong for those ahead, Tandon will be right up there for his first podium in our eSeries.
Yeah, a couple things to look at here. Colin Kaminsky has driven off a number of times. He is really pushing hard to try to get back up here on Christian Brooks. Brooks, of course, running third, as you said. Philippe Dennis out to a 6.6 second lead. About a second and a half back is Hunter McElroy. I think important to note as well is we're in the final minute here right now. Braden Eves running in the 15th. To add insult to injury, Jonathan, he could potentially come home with maybe a 15th or a 14th spot. But that's where he's going to start race number 2 of this doubleheader as well. We'll flip the top 10 as they run on the racetrack. Front row would be Antoine Comeau and Jacob Loomis. So again, Eves would be starting all the way back there on now the outside of row number 7 as he's moved up to 14th.
Have a look at Nate Aranda here. Oh, goodness me. Perfect timing to catch him, or worse timing for Nate Aranda, who comes through turn 10 and has a mammoth spin. And now we flick back to the podium positions here. We may or may not have already seen the white flag. It works very weird on iRacing. If you cross the line after the 20-minute mark, the race is over. Let me tell you, I can confirm now, the race will be over this time round. A pass has to be made here. It's the final lap of the race as Brooks defends that final podium position. It's all well for him, but Phil Dennis will win race number 1 here. Heat number 1 at Laguna Seca for round 2.
Back-to-back jacks for the California, as I said, lives in nearby Carmel, California, just up the road from the racetrack here. Drivers spinning as they come out of the final corner. Here's the drag race to the line. The 21 pulling to the inside. That's Sundar Murthy. Finishing in the second spot is McElroy. Third is going to be Christian Brooks. He comes out in front of what was an epic battle for third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. Colin Kaminsky holding on. He was running on the absolute ragged edge for Kaminsky. He ends up P4. Andre Castro, a strong run to fifth. It'll be good for points for him. Daniel Frost in sixth. Jacob Loomis seventh. Corey Enders coming across the line in, I believe, the 8th position. 9th is Keon Tandon. And who do we have rounding out the top 10? Antoine Comeau. He would be the pole sitter for race number 2.
Yeah, the Canadian going to have a good heat number 2. The drivers are now coming towards the end of their race. We'll bring you the post-race results after this. Ayrton still racing here, but don't leave us. Post-race interviews with our winner coming up.
What if they sold tires online?
We do. We're TireRack.com.
They could offer lots of tires and help you find the right tire.
It's called the Tire Decision Guide.
Oh, and they could ship them to a nearby mechanic.
We shipped over 7,000 independent recommended installers.
This is an amazing idea.
Sorry.
Receive fast, free shipping and road hazard protection, a deal, and peace of mind. TireRack.com, the way tire buying should be.
It's me, your Uncle Cooper, and this is a Cooper tire. Great tire. Now, it's not going to cook you a pot roast, but it will stop when you hit the brakes. And these truck tires can stop on average 10 feet shorter than other tires on a wet road. See, the trick is in the grip, and these tires grip like my handshake. Look, I'm your uncle. I love you. I want you to stop when you need to. Doesn't matter if it's for a red light or a duckling. So go with the Coopers. Cooper! And never start something you can't stop.
So back here at WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca for round 2. The first heats just concluded, and it was Phil Dennis for RP Motorsport USA who takes victory today by 7 seconds over Hunter McElroy. His next rival in Braden Eves suffered from an early incident, and that helped Phil Dennis dominate the race today along with Hunter, but he'll be starting from 10th for the next heat. Christian Brooks rounds out the podium in that close-fought battle between himself, Colin Kaminsky, and Andre Castro. Daniel Frost had nothing to show, only fell in 6th after all that strong pace. The traffic here an issue, but not an issue for our winner, Phil Dennis, who's alongside the voice of Road to Indy, Rob Howden.
I'll tell you, Philippe, you knew that this track was going to be good for you. It's your home track. You live just in nearby Carmel, California. A big victory. Can you talk a little bit about what it means to you to be able to get not just a win here, but your second in a row to get yourself back into the championship battle?
Yeah, obviously I'm very happy to get a good win here at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca. It's my home track. I never won a race here, so I'm pretty happy about that. I felt very comfortable. I knew that I just had to keep laying down the laps, get a small gap, and then just keep pushing, and it worked out. I'm really happy to get maximum points here for this first race. And I'm really excited to actually start 10th. It's going to be fun coming from the midfield,
trying to get to the front in this next race.
Yeah, that was my next question. You're going to start on the outside of row number 5 now. Do you have a strategy in mind for the first couple of corners? You guys got through cleanly for race number 1, but the second half of the lap was pretty crazy. What are your thoughts here on the start of race number 2?
Yeah, definitely just be smart and clean. Look for the right opportunities and try not to crash. That's the main goal. And then keep my head down and work towards the front.
Nicely done in race 1. Have a good one here.
Yep, thank you.
Jonathan, a pretty impressive young driver. We've watched what he's been able to do. Of course, winning the championship in the season 1 of the eSeries here on the road to Indy. Looking good here now as well. Back-to-back victories. Trouble for Braden Eves. That kind of blows things wide open. A good run as well, though, for Andre Castro. Able to bring it home cleanly. He'll definitely still be in the championship battle as well.
Yeah, definitely. So this is an important victory for him. I talked about him using and taking advantage of the road course races because it's so critical for him to do so. The championship lead for him, though, is looking close right now. I'm having a look. I'm trying to calculate the points in my head, Rob. Not sure if he's got it on... I mean, where did Max Kaiser finish again? I'm trying to look at the race 1 results. If we look at the results sheet here, Max was also down the order, down in 17th. I would say off the top of my head, Phil Dennis has got this championship lead for the moment, but we'll keep that unofficial right now because we've got a second heat coming up. It gives the chance for the driver to reset. The top 10 will be flipped, so it will be Anton Comeau, the Canadian, for Turn 3 Motorsports, starting from pole. So what do we expect from this top 10 inverted race?
Well, I think that kind of Philippe gave us kind of an insight there, right? He's waiting, going to be trying to be patient early on. He knows he can get by. There's enough places to pass here. It's not a really easy place to overtake, but he knows this track really well. I would think that he and McElroy and Brooks will kind of settle in to try to see what happens early. When you do a flip like this, you don't know what's going to happen with the drivers up front. They haven't had a chance to start a race here up front on the iRacing platform, whether it be Comeau or Tandon, Corey Anderson, Jacob Loomis on row number 2. This is the stuff that's going to be super interesting right now to see if they're able to get through 1 and 2 and then 3 and 4 in the remainder of the lap cleanly, because we did see a bit of chaos when we started heat race number 1.
And almost ready to go for Heat 2 here. We're about 5 seconds away until we head to the grid. So we won't have championship points for now. We'll bring you those hopefully post-event. But off the top of my head, it's going to be Phil Dennis. I don't want to be self-deprecating here, Rob, but I want to know if this will test how good I am at math. Because I sometimes think I'm good, but I'm too smart for myself sometimes. I get it wrong all the time. So let's see how Heat 2 plays out first of all. And as we said, Anton Comeau will start from pole. He's not our pole winner award. That's presented by Symmetric Driver Performance Labs. He didn't earn that in qualifying, but he earns it through an inverted top 10. Phil Dennis will start down in 10th then. Michael Myers just missed out on that reverse pole. But how about Reese Gold starting from 12th, Rob? He started down in 28th for the first heat, up to 12th for heat 1, avoided all the incidents. He always just somehow figures it out during the races for Cape Motorsports.
Yeah, I've had a chance to watch Reese come up through the ranks. He just turned 15 years of age. Last year at 14 was his first season in USF 2000. He was a champion driver in the micro and mini levels of karting. Was able to win the Lucas Oil School of Racing Formula Car Series as well. That got him a scholarship to move to USF 2000 with Cape Motorsports last year. There's so much raw talent in Reese. And the more he drives, the more experience he gets, the better he's going to be. And what I really like with a guy like Reese or Max Kaiser, some of these younger drivers, I love the fact that they're going to be able to grab complete control and really start to leverage and get more experience as they get racing here on the iRacing platform as well. I think what they've been able to show is going to really play out when we go racing in the real world.
And the Corvette of Greg DeGeorgis will take over in the pace car and lead the field away. Rob, I was watching an IndyCar feature the other day. I can't remember what race it was from, though. When I say the other day, I mean like a few months ago, by the way. And they showed about a compilation of 5 pace car crashes in IndyCar, and it was absolutely hilarious. Let's hope Greg DeGeorgis doesn't do the same here on the sim.
Let's be real. There's been some pretty stellar drivers that have wrecked cars. You probably saw it, but there was one at Toronto where Arie Luyendyk Sr., an Indy 500 winner, in the wet, tapped the wall coming to the end of the straightaway in Toronto on the street circuit. He was able to save it. Didn't wreck the car totally. But yeah, it's not the hardest thing to do to make a minor mistake. Drivers, of course, rolling out here. And I do want to jump back because I think you're probably correct. I'm not a math guy and I haven't done the numbers, but I'm looking at probably around 63 points, I believe, for Philippe Dennis. 57 points for Braden Eves coming in. I'm not sure how many he was potentially able to get. I think he finished 13th or 14th. He may have got a couple, but I think you're probably right, Jonathan. I think you're going to have Dennis with the lead.
Yep, definitely. We'll bring you the starting action after this, after these messages from our partners.
What if they sold tires online?
We do. We're TireRack.com.
They could offer lots of tires and help you find the right tire.
It's called the Tire Decision Guide.
Oh, and they could ship them to a nearby mechanic.
We shipped over 7,000 independent recommended installers.
This is an amazing idea.
Sorry.
Receive fast, free shipping and road hazard protection, a deal, and peace of mind. TireRack.com, the way tire buying should be.
After a fantastic battle in heat race number 1, round 3 of the overall program here, we're going to get set to go once again at WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca. The drivers have restacked the deck. If we flip-flop the top 10, it'll put Antoine Camo on the front row alongside Keon Tandon. A little bit messy coming up to the line. Camo's going to get things underway. We're racing. Green, green, green. Over the hill at turn 1, and he will lead them down in. Good start as well there. To the inside of that corner for the number 7 of Corey Enders. Can they get through? One driver getting a little loose on the outside.
We saw 4 wide heading into the Andretti hairpin. This is going to be absolutely chaotic. Reese Gold has been involved in an incident. Braden Eves up into 9th. He's had a brilliant getaway, but it's still Anton Camo leading from Corey Enders, from Jacob Loomis. Daniel Frost up a spot 2. Keon Tandon suffered the most here at the beginning of the race, down 7 spots.
You know, starting on the outside of the front row, he needed to get on the throttle quickly because you know the drivers behind him, the ones that finished in front of him in the opening race, were going to be going quickly, and he got swallowed up there, fell down a couple of positions. He'll try to recover here now. Look at the number 5 of Philippe Dennis, already working his way up there. Here's Enders side by side with Daniel Frost. Hey, Jonathan, 2 wide coming through the corkscrew.
Oh, no. This isn't going to work, guys. Be careful. Through Rainey. 3 wide. Oh, and a huge pile up down the back of the pack here, all ready to begin the race here. More contact through the penultimate corner. This is an absolutely chaotic start, and I wouldn't be surprised to see a pace car here if we have further incidents. Andre Castro is going to have nowhere to go through the middle here.
3 wide coming over the hill at turn number 1. Brooks on the inside, Castro on the outside, on the inside. Look at the outside to number 19. A little bit of trouble coming through turn number 2 for Daniel Frost. He's going to lose a couple of spots. Great move there for the number 44 of Christian Brooks. He's got in front of that group. Some hectic racing and potential left front wing damage for Braden Eves, who now runs P7.
But the important part is that he's ahead of Phil Dennis in the 9th position. Dennis has gone nowhere from the 10th starting spot. Braden Eves, though, after starting this race down in 13th, is up a multitude of positions. So here they come through to the Rahal Straight one more time. And I'm getting a bit nervous as they head into the corkscrew and into the braking zone. Here's Reese Gold now, making a move possibly on David Martinez, the Mexican. No move to make for Reese Gold there. And again, it's another 20-minute feature. No pit stops required, but it's going to be as chaotic as ever and as entertaining a start here. And Phil Dennis now up the inside of Andretti Autosport's Daniel Frost.
Well, listen, that's one of the key plays to pass here, and Philippe Dennis knows that. You're able to make that aggressive move up the inside there, and again, because every driver is trying to get as much speed as they can out of that corner, and that was a strong move for Philippe Dennis. He's now worked his way up into the 8th position, and this is key to the championship. What's he going to be able to do here? Dennis runs an 8th spot. Braden Eves, even with the damage on the left front of the wing, he currently runs in the 6th position. He's going to try to chase down Colin Kaminsky now.
And Corey Enders just set the fastest lap of the race from third. So they've broken the toe from Christian Brooks. And Christian Brooks is carrying, look at the gaps on the left-hand side of screen. Everybody's separated by around about half a second on average. Eves up in a 6th, followed by Castro, followed by Dennis. If those three work together, Rob, and I said a critical word there, if they could climb up the order together. But those three are so competitive, I don't see that happening. Perfect timing as we watch Phil Dennis try to make a move here up the inside of Castro.
Tremendous racing. Not the surprise at all that these guys will be going at it as they are now. Watching them work their way through here at this point. Again, coming through turn number 11. Key part of this track. Look at the move now coming on here for Braden Eves. He knows he has to recover. Eves is working his tail off to try to work his way back forward.
Have a look at this. Braden Eves to 5th. Another thrilling start. 8 spots to begin this race. Phil Dennis up in a 7th. And Castro now down another spot. Castro's always been strong on the ovals. We know that. It's like the opposite to Phil Dennis. You combine the two drivers and you get the ultimate competitor.
Watching the drivers work their way around turn number 5 and over to turn 6. Philippe Dennis just marching his way forward. I like the way that he is taking this so calmly, so patiently, not trying to overdo the car right now. The number 5 machine working its way back up the hill. He's just picking things away. He'll try to get by. Next up will be Colin Kaminsky, who runs P6 a little further forward. Braden Eves, definitely recovery. Trouble coming through the corkscrew. That is Frost. Daniel Frost around in the corkscrew.
Let's have a look at what happened to the Singaporean.
Oh, contact from behind, yeah.
Helped around, wasn't he?
Like
now, who was that by?
I want to say that might have been Hunter McElroy, one of the Pabst racing cars, I believe, getting into the back of him, coming into the corkscrew. We've seen that happen many times before. Corey Enders, deep move down the inside. Look at Enders putting the pressure on here early. Good job for him trying to get himself back forward as well. Corey, the driver for D-Force Racing. That's a battle for the race. That's a battle for the lead.
Yep, it is. So Corey Enders, no, excuse me, a battle for second.
Indeed.
So Corey Enders and Jacob Loomis. Anton Cameau's got a nice advantage here after starting on reverse pole. And he could be looking towards his first race victory of the campaign. And here they are, the lead pack. So there's Cameau, there's Enders, and behind him is Jacob Loomis. Enders making a trip through the sand trap, and here is Jacob Loomis capitalizing on that. Big mistake from Corey Enders. The gravel traps here, Rob, much like Sonoma in California, they'd be a lot green during the winter months. People forget that.
Yeah, indeed the case. Being told that Artem Petrov off the racetrack as well. Let's have a look at Petrov here, the driver for Hunkos Racing in the number 42 machine, the Russian driver. Off the track coming up about a turn number 5. And again, that's easy to do. We've seen drivers do that on a regular basis, getting well off the track there. Good run up front here, though, for Jacob Loomis. You know, thus far, 6.5 minutes into this, Jonathan, the drivers who were able to capitalize on the invert, the top 10 invert, have really leveraged it thus far. Almost a full second advantage for Antoine Cameau in the turn 3 motorsports machine. Jacob Loomis running second, Corey Enders third. Christian Brooks, who finished third in the opening race, works his way back up here to P4.
Good call there. The exclusive Autosport driver. He's in a channel with a lot of drivers at the moment, I'm seeing. They're all talking to each other right now, from Braden Eves to Loomis to Christian Brooks, Carl Duppel in the same channel, and Phil Dennis. So if they all want to talk trash to each other, bit of sledging, I'm all for it. But we can't hear that, of course. We'll leave them in privacy in this race. I'm sure that Braden Eves was probably screaming and everybody was on mute when he made that mistake during heat number 1.
Side-by-side action there. Look at the number 5 of Philippe Dennis. Thought about going to the inside of Rainy Curve, turn number 9. That's a dangerous move. Looked to the inside of Braden Eves, but kind of backed up a little bit. Here's that battle now a little further back. That's going to be the number 49 involved there. That is Ryan Norman. He's in the fight here. Here's Enders still going at it for second with Jacob Loomis side by side. Enders down to the inside of the racetrack into turn number 2. Can he hold it? No. Over under. Side by side. Great recovery for Loomis. As just a little too much there, Jonathan, for Enders. Loomis doing the old over under to hold on to P2.
Yeah, I think Enders needed to slow it down on the apex and just block off that line. I think he tried to carry momentum for the exit, and it didn't help him at all. As now Brooks is under... Enders is under attack from Christian Brooks. That's not an overtaking spot, and it almost ended in misery. Brooks forces Enders onto the racing line, but he's not going to have the widest of entries. Brooks, the tightest line onto the Rahal Straight. That forces a move here by Phil Dennis on Braden Eves. He's going to capitalize on this.
Anytime you have a move like that, Jonathan, where somebody tries to make maybe a low percentage move and has to check up and box everybody behind them, that totally changes the drive from every driver moving forward. Braden Eves had to get off of it. Philippe Dennis did not. Better run through turn number 6, as you had mentioned. Got side by side. Philippe Dennis. And this is we're talking about a championship battle here. Yeah, this is round 4 of what's going to be a 10-round championship. Of course, we'll have 2 races next Wednesday at Lucas Oil Raceway, that high bank 5/8 mile oval. We're just getting into this, but we got a championship battle fighting up already, and I guarantee you Philippe Dennis is thinking about championship, thinking about trying to win 2 here at Laguna Seca, his home track.
Look at the gaps on the left-hand side of the screen. You talk about Phil Dennis trying to make it 2 from 2. He's in 5th, but 1 second away from P number 1 and a potential race victory. We're halfway through this event, and there's still plenty of racing action to take place as Dennis now into 4th on Christian Brooks. This is getting worse for Braden Eves.
Yeah, clean pass for Philippe Dennis. You know, he was able to get to the inside. Being told there's trouble for Castro. Again, Andre Castro is probably up to 3rd in points after the solid finish. We'll have a look at what happened to Castro here. Man, Jonathan, he's just had so much trouble. It's just been so tough to watch the issues that he has had time and time again. Castro, a potential just going around there. Yeah.
Well, thankfully, it looked like at the end he kept it out of the wall. Oh, and have a look at this. Anton Camo, Phil Dennis into 2nd, Corey Enders 3rd, Loomis. Actually, you know what? I don't know who's where at the end of this one. Phil Dennis is at least in a 2nd. Looking for the lead. Don't tell me he's going to make 3 spots in a few corners. The RP Motorsport USA driver turned around at turn number 1.
They were 3 wide essentially coming in there. You can see Christian Brooks getting ready to dive to the inside. He's trying to make the outside run. Corey Enders thinks about making it 3 wide. Indeed, he did. Just a bit of contact right front to left rear. And the championship point leader and the driver who won the last 2 races ends up going around in turn number 2. That's going to give Camo the lead back again. We'll see how far down Philippe Dennis falls, potentially 8th position. Only halfway through the race. He'll be charging once again. But is there damage, Jonathan? That's the thing we have to consider right now. Is there any kind of issue with the car right now, Philippe Dennis?
Well, his championship now has turned upside down in a sense. He's looked at a potential victory in P number 1 down to 8th. And, oh, goodness me, Braden Eves has benefited from this the most. He's up in a 4th now. He tried to pull the move around the outside. I don't blame anyone in that situation. It was a very tough one to judge. Look at the draft effect here. The Canadian of Kumho is under attack yet again from Enders and Brooks. Let's have a look if they handle it well through turn 1.
Thinking about 3 wide again. Brooks down to the inside. He's going to try to get a better round of the corner, and he does, but a huge run. That's a contact! Contact between Enders and Brooks coming out of turn number 2. It was a great run to the inside for Christian Brooks. We're going to replay on this for sure, but a big wide run early on the throttle, of course, for Corey Enders. He's on the outside of the racetrack, and Enders is the driver who makes contact. Jonathan, let's have a look at this one again. We'll have to go back a little further. Brooks looks like he could be stuck. Is that the replay, or is he actually off track?
We'll see there. He's pulled it into the pit lane now. So on the left-hand side of the screen, he's up to the top of the totem, which means he's pressed a little escape button, head back to the pits. He'll have to virtually tow that car, which will take a couple of minutes before he can head back to the racetrack. And we'd like to take a breather, but the racing's going to continue here for what is going to be the lead between Enders and Loomis. Braden Eves is, you know, if I'm Braden in this situation, I just sit back and take it easy. What timing was that to put a commentary curse right there on the situation as Eves collects Jacob Loomis. Oh, Rob, I need a breather, mate. Oh, goodness gracious.
Yeah, you know what? That was tough because they went 3 wide down into turn number 2. Christian Brooks on the inside got a better run. Camo got wide coming into the corner, lost the rear end a bit, a little bit of mid-corner oversteer. A big run around the outside for Corey Enders. And I'm going to say that's probably Christian Brooks' problem there. He came across from drivers left to right and essentially drove right into Enders. I just don't think he figured Enders was going to be right there. Corey, of course, on the outside. When you're all the way on the outside, you're on the throttle earlier. He was on the throttle much earlier than Brooks, was able to get to the exit point of turn number 2. And every driver will tell you that. When you come to turn number 2, Jonathan, it's a race to the exit point. Whoever gets to the exit first gets the position going down to turn number 3. So we have a new leader, Corey Enders, up front in the D-Force racing machine.
So let's have a look at what happened here with Eves and Loomis. It was tough to call. It looked like there was contact, but was it what in virtual racing you call ghost contact? It would be nice to see from Eve's perspective. Here we ride on board with him. I don't think he's touched him at all. So that to me is just an issue with virtual racing, is sometimes you have ghost contact like that and the stewards will let Eves off. But Eves now to the lead advantage, and if somebody lets him know it was ghost contact, he'll be comfortable to possibly win this race. He's going to bring Corey Enders along with him, and Hunter McElroy too. These three breaking away from Phil Dennis, and with 5 minutes to go, it's going to be a cracker here at Laguna Seca.
This one has been absolutely full of chaos. I can't believe that Braden Eves has been able to work his way to the lead as he had. You can see the left front wing damage that he has on the machine. Big damage to the right side of Corey Enders. The fact that he's still fine after that hard impact between he and Brooks on the exit of turn number 2 is miraculous as well. He's actually putting some pressure on Eves. Hunter McElroy right there in the middle of the fight as well. The Pabst Racing Machine. Again, he and Eves were the two battling it out at Laguna Seca last year for the championship, but I think we need to bring up the fact the fastest driver on the racetrack right now is Philippe Dennis from P4. He is working his way up here. He's in the 4th position. That's the front-running quartet right there. Eves will roll him back onto the straightaway. 4.5 minutes remaining here, Jonathan. We got ourselves a battle lined back up because Philippe Dennis is ready to roll.
Eves to the inside on the defensive. Dennis to the outside on McElroy. McElroy trying to search for second. Everybody on the defensive and on the attack at the same time. Oh, I thought McElroy was having a sneak peek there for the 3rd position. Opens the door for Phil Dennis, who sneaks up into the top 3. And just as I say that, he runs wide, but will maintain the 3rd position. And Rob, did you see the left-hand side of Corey Enders'
I did.
machine there? A lot of damage.
Yeah. I'll tell you right now, Philippe Dennis's dad is a surgeon. I think that's the nickname that we need to give to Philippe Dennis because he's being the surgeon right now. This guy is knifing through the pack. He's taken such precise moves. He's going to work. He was following right behind Hunter McElroy. Followed him, got a feel for him, was able to study where he was going to be able to make the pass. That was a gorgeous pass into turn number 4 to take the position. Now he's going to work here on the driver run in P2, Corey Enders. Big move up the inside of turn number 11, side by side. Not quite there. Enders got lucky there, was getting on the throttle. We've seen guys go around, but it's an inside position here right now for Philippe Dennis. Big run up through turn number 1. He's going to go to work. The cream, once again, has risen to the top.
You talk about surgeons. Hunter McElroy trying to knife his way through the middle of both of them there. He's getting a bit nervous. It's a very beautiful shot as they drop downhill here over 55 meters of elevation change across Laguna Seca and under the Cooper Tires Bridge, who present the series and give us such durable tires that don't require pit stops in the virtual or real world for sure. And TireRack.com will be disappointed by that, Rob, because TireRack.com needs to sell tires in a sense, but Cooper tires are so durable, they won't have any tires to sell.
Well, like we tell everyone, you got your race tires, they're going to last forever, but if you're going to get tires for your hauler, your personal vehicle, that's when you go to Cooper Tires. And, of course, go to TireRack.com, able to order your tires. They'll ship them to the dealer near you. You're good to go. Get those Coopers on. That's what you got to do to support the series for sure. Great company, great product, fantastic service as well.
So we've got 2 minutes left in the race. It's about a minute 16 lap here, which is very quick, to be honest with you. IndyCar was doing about minutes 9s, minute 10s here. A lot quicker than that. We saw Corey Enders get a bit tail happy and lose traction towards the exit. Now they're going to split into a second group possibly. They've got to be careful. And I think McElrea, he just can't find his way past into the top 3. Can Hunter McElrea right now. He's remained in 4th. And here we go now. Both running off the track there. He's picked up a bit of dirty air and followed Enders off the track. Now, Rob, they've allowed the top 2 to break away. And look at this again. Eves and Dennis. It's a story that just keeps coming back for P number 1.
Yeah, we're going to have a couple of battles here for first and for third to see what the podium is going to look like when we're all said and done. But let's just throw this out here right now. Even if he's not able to get the pass done, let's go back at it. We're side by side. Eves on the inside, Dennis on the outside, almost side by side, coming down through the corkscrew as well. If Dennis is able to get the job done here, remember, he started in 24th in race number 2 at Gateway, came to P1. He started 10th here. If he's able to win this race, that's 37 overtakes in the second event of both doubleheaders to start this series. He is side by side again. Eves trying to come across. This is going to be some aggressive racing. Got to be the final lap here.
White flag waves. Who's going to take the lead and potentially the win? Eves on the outside. The defensive doesn't work because Dennis holds it on the apex. And that means Phil Dennis into P number 1. On this final lap of the race, the RP Motorsport USA driver has done it again after contact at the Andretti hairpin 10 minutes ago. He dropped down to the 8th position. He's somehow figured it out again into P number 1, and he's got half a lap to go here to claim 2 victories from 2 for round number 2 at Laguna Seca. 222.
Little further back as well, contact between Corey Enders and Hunter McElrea. Those drivers fighting it out. Enders does not want to give up P3 here right now, but a tremendous battle, as we've said, for the race lead and the race win. Enders holding on to P3 at this point here, but Braden Eves throwing everything he can at Philippe Dennis, but the driver who calls Laguna Seca his home track lives just around the corner, and Carmel is going to go back to back in the second events and the third. Look at this. What a run for Philippe Dennis, ladies and gentlemen, coming up the hill. The winner in race number 2 here at Laguna Seca, Philippe Dennis. What an unbelievable drive. Back to back to back jacks. 3 straight victories. Rabbit hole of the championship. Across the line comes Andre Castro showing his displeasure. Here's a battle further back as well between Reese Gold and Max Kaiser. That's side by side, Jonathan, for P11.
Still racing here. Let's see who wins out on top. Oh, Kaiser across the line just ahead of Reese Gold. Reese Gold started from 12th, finished in 12th at the end of the day after being involved in an incident early on in the event. But for now, though, we'll look at post-race results and bring you all our post-race coverage after this. Don't leave us. What a cracker race 2 was. We'll speak to you after these messages from our series partners.
It's me, your Uncle Cooper, and this is a Cooper tire. Great tire. Now, it's not going to cook you a pot roast, but it will stop when you hit the brakes. And these truck tires can stop on average 10 feet shorter than other tires on a wet road. See, the trick is in the grip, and these tires grip like my handshake. Look, I'm your uncle. I love you. I want you to stop when you need to. Doesn't matter if it's for a red light or a duckling. So go with the Coopers. Cooper! And never start something you can't stop.
So back here at the conclusion of rounds 3 and number 4 to conclude Laguna Seca, our second round of the championship, our 3rd and 4th races, I should say, for the season. So we'll speak to Phil Dennis as we drag him up in a moment's time. But these are the final race results, and he makes it 2 from 2, Rob. The RP Motorsport USA driver has claimed the championship lead officially by that. There's no math needed. He's won 3 on the trot.
Yeah, I'll tell you, as I'd said, coming from 24th to 1st in race number 2 at Gateway, and then starting 10th here today and able to work his way all the way up to P1. 34 overtakes in those second races of the last two events, rounds 2 and rounds number 4. This guy is just really showing what he's able to do, of course, here on the iRacing platform. But I love the fact that this is going to transfer, I think, to real life racing when we get back at it as well. And I also like a potential rivalry coming here with Braden Eves and Philippe Dennis as an announcer. I love a good rivalry, and I can't wait till we do that at Road America in June.
Now that's interesting. Philippe Dennis, we will speak to you now, officially winner for the overall round and both races 3 and 4 of the championship. Now, Rob Howden just mentioned to us that this is a brilliant opportunity for you to gain exposure, and this may help you in the real world too, claiming these wins and championships.
Oh yeah, I really hope so. I'm struggling right now. We're trying to get the budget together for a full season, and I would love to be able to show what I can do with RP Motorsport in the Indy Pro 2000 category.
Well, Philippe, let's talk about this first. When you start on the pole position, as you have done many times, you're able to jet away to these big race wins. But in the second end of the double headers, both at Gateway and here, you went from 24th to 1st and 10th to 1st. I know you talk about the fact it's kind of fun to start deeper in the field because, man, everything worked out well. 34 overtakes in those two races. Can you talk a little bit about how you approached it? And were you surprised potentially by any of the maneuvers that happened out there that allowed you to move forward?
Well, back in the past when I raced karts, my best races I think that I ever had were always coming from the back. Something would happen and I'd have to start from the back and just give it my all to get to the front. And I think there's a little bit of a different mindset coming from the back than when you're starting up front. So I think I kind of just use that instinct to just give it everything I have to come from the back to the front. And we had a little bit of contact with Corey Enders halfway through that race, and I actually spun. And I still managed to come back with no damage. And, man, it was an exciting race, thrilling race, really.
You made the pass down on Braden into turn number 2. Was that a pass you planned on making, or was it more of an opportunistic overtake?
I'm not really sure. I just saw a little bit of a gap and decided I'd try and go for it, and it worked out. And I knew that Braden had a little bit of front wing damage, so I just had to really nail down those couple of corners, and I knew he'd had to have that arrow push to kind of hurting him. So I used that to my advantage and came out with the win.
Well, congratulations on a great one, man. 3 straight victories, going to give you the point lead heading to Lucas Oil Raceway next weekend. Congrats again. Well done on a solid drive here today.
Thank you. As always, I'd like to thank RP Motorsport, Tire Rack, all you guys, Road to Indy for putting on such a great show, Cooper Tires, my family, my girlfriend, everyone, always.
So Philippe Dennis will leave him, who is now our championship leader and overall round winner at Laguna Seca on the road courses. We head back to Lucas Oil Raceway next week. Now, we're not going to leave you for post-race coverage, but we are going to leave our Canadian audience from the MAV TV Motorsports Network. And we hope you enjoyed all of our coverage today. If you want to catch more of it, you can jump on to our social channels and onto YouTube and our live streams on the internet. You can catch interviews with Braden Eves and Corey Enders and much more from our Road to Indy field. But for myself, Jonathan Simon, Rob Howden, we say goodbye to Canada over at MAV TV, and we'll see you after this for more post-race coverage for round number 2 of the Tire Rack Road to Indy eSeries presented by Cooper Tires.
What if they sold tires online?
We do. We're TireRack.com.
They could offer lots of tires and help you find the right tire.
It's called the Tire Decision Guide.
Oh, and they could ship them to a nearby mechanic.
We shipped to over 7,000 independent recommended installers.
This is an amazing idea.
Sorry.
Receive fast, free shipping and road hazard protection, a deal, and peace of mind. TireRack.com, the way tire buying should be.
It's me, your Uncle Cooper, and this is a Cooper tire. Great tire. Now, it's not going to cook you a pot roast, but it will stop when you hit the brakes. And these truck tires can stop on average 10 feet shorter than other tires on a wet road. See, the trick is in the grip, and these tires grip like my handshake. Look, I'm your uncle. I love you. I want you to stop when you need to. Doesn't matter if it's for a red light or a duckling. So go with the Coopers. Cooper! And never start something you can't stop. It's me, your Uncle Cooper, and this is a Cooper tire. Great tire. Now, it's not going to cook you a pot roast, but it will stop when you hit the brakes. And these truck tires can stop on average 10 feet shorter than other tires on a wet road. See, the trick is in the grip, and these tires grip like my handshake. Look, I'm your uncle. I love you. I want you to stop when you need to. Doesn't matter if it's for a red light or a duckling. So go with the Coopers. Cooper! And never start something you can't stop.
You're shopping for tires online and you have questions.
I do.
We're TireRack.com and we have answers and tools to help.
Like our tire decision guide. It's real easy to use.
TireRack.com, the way tire buying should be.
Back here for post-race coverage for round number 2 of the Tire Rack Road to Indy iRacing eSeries presented by Cooper Tires. It's the Rick Motec post-race show here from WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca. Although virtually, as we get a brilliant shot of the corkscrew. And we'll speak to Braden Eves, who had to defend at the corkscrew there on the final lap. Braden, what a thrilling final lap battle that was with Phil Dennis. And he looked confident, tried to force you offline, heading to the corkscrew there on the final lap. But hey, you had a good run at the end of the day, mate, and you still claimed a good strong haul of points.
Yeah, it was a good race. A really, really fun race in that second event. Overall, it was really unfortunate with how I had that bent front wing. Keon Tandon ended up spinning right in front of me and ended up messing up my wing pretty bad. Honestly, it probably should have been a lot worse for damage than it was, but it ended up just being that just enough to where Phil could have caught me and passed me on the last lap, which is quite unfortunate. But it was a really fun race. Congrats to Phil. Good job to everyone for putting on the race, and I'm looking forward to the next one.
And for you talk about race 1 too. You had some issues. You had a lot of damage to that car. Thankfully, a fast repair got you back out there. But talk about the difficulties of coming out of corners, the low-speed traction zones in this old Pro Mazda. I'm sure you can't wait till we head on to V7 tires in the new car that may be released later this year.
Yeah, it's really tough in those opening laps. You know, the tires were cold. They weren't up to temperature all the way, and I was just pushing so hard to get a run on Phil because it's quite easy to defend here at Laguna Seca, and I knew that if I didn't get to the lead, that it would be really, really tough to beat Phil. So I was pushing really hard in that first couple laps, and just really had a lack of traction there at the exit, and just sent me into the inside wall. So. A good recovery to finish 13th, and that was good enough to have me in the lead in the second race. So that was what I was really after, was just getting that starting position in the second race.
And finally, Rob mentioned to Phil how this could help him with some real-world exposure. Now, you yourself are the USF 2000 champion from 2019. Do you think the E-Series and the virtual world is going to help you out at all?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good way to keep sharp. You know, the level of competition is just like real life, super stout, and it's just a really good time. I mean, I know that I'm still having fun, and this is like the 7th week of doing it. So yeah, I mean, I'm really looking forward to getting back to real life. And Mid-Ohio, the open test, the official series test, I'm looking forward to all of it. Should be good. But overall, yeah, I mean, I'd like to thank all my sponsors, Exclusive Auto Sport, Meyershank Racing, Houston Insurance, Community Choice Financial, Modern Livery, Road to Indy, the series, providing the scholarship for me to continue my racing this year. Thank you to everyone for putting it on.
Yeah, nice stuff. So there is Braden Eves, Rob, who came home second. Obviously a poor first race after the spin earlier on, but actually, if you think about it, without the spin, had a thrilling race coming back up through the pack, but he claims a good strong haul of championship points, heading back to the ovals next week for Braden, and surely trying to make amends for the loss of that championship lead heading into Laguna Seca.
Well, I think we saw the pace that Braden was able to have at Gateway, and I expect him to be very, very strong as well when we get to Lucas Oil Raceway next Wednesday. Let's jump to the driver, though, who fought tooth and nail to be able to get on the podium in P3. Corey Enders from D-Force Racing, well done for sure. And I want to say, probably just an overall good day. You had to finish in the top 10 to be able to get the invert that kind of moved you to the front. So that great run in round number 3 was strong. You come to round number 4. You're in the middle of a battle with Hunter McElroy, battling with Antoine Camo. First and foremost, how did you not get damage in the contact with Christian Brooks? Because that car, that number 7 machine, looked pretty roughed up after the incident coming out of 2.
I I honestly don't know. It was a super intense race. I'm still like laughing about it just because I was really like trying my best to just get that podium because I really wanted to get the D-Force car on there because the guys really deserve to see it up there. I don't know how I didn't really see Christian even. I don't even know how he hit me. So maybe you could elaborate on that a little bit because I didn't even see that happen.
Well, I'm sure you'll have a chance to see the replay at one point, but you went to the outside of Camo, and he kind of came to the inside, got the run on the inside. You split him on the exit. He got a little bit of mid-corner oversteer, but it was you with that big exit run on the outside. He kind of came right across. You guys essentially hit wheel to wheel because he came across. I don't think he even knew you were there. I think he figured he had things handled, and you'd be hung out to dry on the outside, but your run was so good, you were able to beat him over to turn number 3. That was it was pretty hectic because if you look at your car, once you see the replay, it looks pretty beat up bodywork wise. But of course, you were able to bring it home. Were there no ill effects at all in the fight with McElroy?
I, I was trying not to think about it too much, Rob. I had JJ, Jonathan George, on my headset. He was my spotter, and he was telling me the car was fine. So I was just trusting him, but obviously the car was pretty messed up. Obviously just to keep my head together, he was telling me that, but I didn't feel too much. The car felt pretty good. If there was any effect at all, I was just trying to keep it on the track, try to keep those off tracks to a minimum.
Probably your best road course run of the year from the first series and now here into the second series with round number 4. Did you just feel like maybe you're getting a better handle on the iRacing program, or was this just an opportunity where you like this racetrack and it kind of played to your strengths?
I mean, I love this track.
Yep.
This is one of my favorite tracks out there. So being able to race here, even virtually, is a really cool experience. And I enjoyed every last minute of it. I mean, my nerves were completely 100% real. Like I was actually sweating at the end of that race. But it's just really cool to be able to race here. It's just an awesome track in general.
So, obviously the nerves are real, the stress and the focus is real. So are the sponsors on the car as well. Give me a rundown of the people that make it happen for you.
Yeah, for me, it's Mercedes-Benz Sugarland. Thank you so much to them. Thank you to D-Force Racing, everything that they do. David Martinez, Jonathan George, Parker Thompson, all the guys that we do our, sessions, our virtual sessions with, they're always there and we're always training together. McLaren Houston, Caliber Collision, big thanks to them as well. This has been a really cool experience to get a virtual podium, my first virtual podium. So hoping for a lot more in the future.
And let's wrap with this. You get a virtual podium at the track you love so much here, WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca. As you and I did at an interview most recently, we talked about the fact that you've really kind of started to step up your game on the ovals as well. Next Wednesday, Lucas Oil Raceway, 5/8 mile high banked oval. You got to be pretty jacked, I would think, going from here, the success from here, and taking that momentum to Lucas Oil Raceway.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I just want to touch that this was a really dumb thing that happened. I missed the qualifying for Gateway because I was in the bathroom and I did not realize that the qualifying started. So I didn't realize it was like also 4 minutes. So that's what happened there. But I'm really, really excited to do the the race at Lucas Oil because it's an even playing field for everybody, the ovals, and it's great racing and great for the audience to watch as well.
Well, I'll tell you, congratulations on a great run. We look forward to seeing you at the next one. You're going to be working your way back up to the championship. All in all, though, solid run here at Laguna Seca. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Rob. See you next time.
All right, folks, let's jump right into another driver here who had a tremendous run coming forward, joining us here in the commentary booth. 18 position improvement. Flynn Lazier, congratulations, man. Great racing, but obviously exciting coming from deep in the field all the way up into 9th position. Can you walk us through your race a bit?
Hey, Rob. Yeah, thank you. It was an exciting race. The first race had some contact, so I wasn't able to really do anything. But second race just kept it clean and moved up quickly and just try to be as consistent as possible. I've had a really hard time being fast in these pro Mazda cars in iRacing, but yeah, overall it's a really fun race, and every time it's super enjoyable joining the Road to Indy guys for the weekend. It's a blast, but yeah, I had a good race overall, and it was fun to finish in the top 10 at least.
I'd love to be potentially able to get behind the in card and see some of your overtakes. Was it kind of a cross section of overtakes and just missing the chaos that allowed you to come so far forward into the top 10?
Yeah, I think it was a mixture of both. I mean, some of these guys are real quick on the sim, and I've been a guy who's sim literate, but never one that's been outstandingly quick. So part of it was just dodging some of the guys that were in some trouble, and part of it was a few overtakes, which was fun. But yeah, I still got to figure out how to get the last few tenths in that car. But yeah, it's fun. It's thanks you guys for putting on such a good show, because it's during these times it's fun to at least have some sort of rancher racing, and you guys make it happen. So thank you.
That's exactly it. Listen, we love having you as part of the program here on the Road to Indy, Iraq.com eSeries. Is there a possibility to potentially see you out in maybe Indy Lights or Indy Pro 2000 this year in real life racing? Are we going to see you on the Road to Indy this year?
We're really hoping so. We were really happy with some of the testing we got at the end of the year last year, and all the experience we got in the Formula Atlantics last year, and had a really good test with Bilardi Autosport and Able Motorsport. So we're happy with really both, and to be honest, the Atlantic's a little mixture of both. So it's really hard to say during these times, just because I think while everyone's struggling just to stay healthy, I mean, really it's the businesses that are struggling a lot too. So we're really hoping that everything can start getting a little back to normal, but I think it's going to be hard for a lot of people to come up with the funding for the season. So maybe we can reach out to some toilet paper companies, some disinfecting companies. Maybe they got something for us, but I don't know. We'll see. We're really hoping to. It's where I want to be. I feel like we have a really good shot at being competitive. I really give my whole life to the sport. So I don't know. Let's hope so. But if not this year, someday we'll be there. So yeah.
Sounds like a couple of pretty solid targets in terms of sponsorship contacts. I like that. Who do you have that is supporting you right now? Let's give you an opportunity to talk about who's supporting Flynn Lazier here in 2020.
Nothing yet, but Bell's always been a good friend of ours, and hopefully we can figure something out. We'll see.
Yeah, I appreciate you joining us, and again, great run, able to work your way into the top 10.
Thanks, Rob. Brings us back to the days of the karting. Thanks for the time.
I love it, man. That's awesome. Flynn Lazier, folks, again, one of the fantastic families in American motorsports. A family actually lost their patriarch, Bob Lazier, just over a month ago, to the coronavirus. Fantastic guy. Always a great smile on pit lane. Of course, Flynn's father, Buddy, an Indy 500 winner as well. Third generation driver, Flynn Lazier, and he's got the dedication and the focus on the sport. Did a great job working his way into the top 10, Jonathan.
Yeah, that's very sad news for sure. So keep him in your thoughts. But now we would like to present the TSOladder.com fastest lap of the race award, and that will head to Phil Dennis, who took home both race victories, and he set a 1 minute 15.6 in that second event for the fastest lap of the event so far. Very quick, very fast is the RP Motorsport USA driver. So now it's time to wrap up from Laguna Seca. I talked about this being quite green. It's much like Sonoma. If you ever visit, well, it looks like that basically. This is Lucas Oil you see on screen. It's during the summer months very sandy, but during the winter months can become very green, grassy, and we'll head to Lucas Oil, a classic raceway in the United States of America, and very close to the Brickyard.
Yeah, really, probably around less than 10 minutes west of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway out in Claremont, Indiana, and it's been a big part of the Road to Indy. In fact, USF 2000 racing for 20 plus years, Jonathan. It's a really interesting racetrack, a high bank, 5/8 mile oval. When we get there, I'm sure you'll crank some laps out of it, but the fast way around is right against the wall, all the way right around the outside of the racetrack. We've been in there different times. We always race during the Indianapolis 500 weekend. Sometimes it's the night before the 500 on Saturday evening. Most recently, we've had it on Friday night. We call it the Carb Night Classic. It's going to be a tremendous battle. Again, up there in Brownsburg, Claremont area, just outside of the 465 loop in Indianapolis. This is one that I've been looking forward to. I wondered why we didn't have an oval in the very first series we did. We come back with 3 here for the second series of the season. Of course, it'll be rounds number 5 and round round 6 of the championship. This race at Lucas Oil Raceway, I think, is going to be a barn burner. You're going to want to start up front because tough place to pass.
Yeah, most certainly. It's also got a fun rallycross layout that we've used both in GRC and the real world back in 2017, and has been ever popular on the iRacing service. But that's it from us, folks. We're going to say goodbye from the Apex Racing TV commentary booth, and we hope you enjoyed all the action today. That next event will be in a week's time for another 2 20-minute race event here around Lucas Oil Raceway, as it was formerly known Indianapolis Raceway Park. It hosts the 3rd round of the Tire Rack Road to Indy iRacing eSeries, presented by Cooper Tires. From Rob Howden, the voice of Road to Indy, I'm Jonathan Simon. We say so long, and we hope you enjoyed today's coverage with Phil Dennis snatching the championship lead away. Is anybody going to pip him come round 3 as we return back to the ovals?
Can I?
Use our tire decision guide to pick the right tires for you? Yes.